Hey, welcome to Half the Battle's Q&A. I think part of the Q&A this week will be about things I won't do. Specifically, things I won't review. Since I've gotten quite a few questions about various subjects and asking me if I'll take a look at them or not. Well, let's answer that right now. A couple of people have asked me if I am going to review the 12-inch G.I. Joe figures from the 60s, 70s, and even from modern times. And I'm sorry to say, nope. There's a simple reason for that. I don't have any of them. And really, they never piqued my interest. Don't get me wrong, some of them are great looking toys, but the size, it's just a little too much for me. Hell, I think 3 3/4 inch or 4 inch is pretty much the perfect size for action figures. You can have a whole bunch of them and a ton of neat vehicles. I think that's one of the things that originally drew me to the G.I. Joe line in the 80s. Another question was, will I review Action Force? Both the toys and the storylines from the UK comics. Now, for those of you who don't know, Action Force used to be an original line of toys in the United Kingdom that sprinkled in a few repainted G.I. Joe figures. Later on, they just straight up used G.I. Joe toys, no longer making them their own unique characters, but simply letting them be the characters from the United States. The original concept for Action Force was Baron Ironblood and his evil army taking on Action Force. Now, I'm sorry to say, I've never actually read those comics, only brief synopsises on the internet, so I wouldn't be able to review them since, well, once again, I don't have any of them. And I don't have any of the original Action Force action figures either. I did pick up 1 or 2 that were repaints of G.I. Joe figures, like Quarrel, but none of the original Action Force toys. And some of them look pretty decent, but unfortunately they don't have the articulation that the G.I. Joe figures have. And that's always been a point against them in my book. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, that was one of the reasons I didn't really get into the Star Wars toys when I was a kid. This Action Force stuff actually ties into another question I was sent, asking if I had any, specifically the Red Shadows. Well, I'm sorry to say, nope, I don't. From what I've seen of them though, they sorta look like a cross between a German stormtrooper and a Crimson Guard. Pretty neat. As long as I'm talking, I might as well go over a few other G.I. Joe materials that I won't review. There's the G.I. Joe Creo line. For those of you who don't know, they're G.I. Joe figures the size of Legos. I don't have any of them and don't really have any interest in collecting them, so I'm not gonna be reviewing those. Same goes for G.I. Joe Sigma 6. Again, I don't have any of them, and I'm not really that interested in them anyway, so nope, no review there either. For a final question this week, I'll take a step away from things I won't review and answer a random question. Rise of Cobra or Retaliation? Retaliation. Yep. Retaliation felt more like a G.I. Joe movie to me, while Rise of Cobra felt a bit more generic. Plus, it didn't hurt that Cobra Commander actually looked like, you know, Cobra Commander, instead of whatever the hell that outfit was in the first movie. The only thing I'll give Rise of Cobra over Retaliation is the important characters that are missing from the second movie. I mean, the Baroness, Destro, and of course Scarlet. I mean, come on guys. But yeah, still, Retaliation was the better movie. And I thought The Rock was delightful as Roadblock. Well, see you next time everybody when there will be a brand new review.